I knew exactly where my future wife would kidnap me, because the same thing had happened in my previous life. So I returned to that intersection and threw myself onto the ground. Perfect. Let the kidnapping begin. Seconds later, 4 black-suited bodyguards appeared and carefully carried me into their car. Mission accomplished. Now all I had to do was sleep. When I woke up, I was back in that familiar room. I rubbed my hands together. Shuyi, baby, I come back for you. Cough, cough. Too much acting. I quietly scanned the room. According to my previous life, she should be hiding nearby, secretly watching me. So I slowly sat up, pressed a hand to my forehead, and pretended to be dizzy. Oh, why is my head spinning so much? I glanced around secretly. Everything was as quiet as ever. I turned up the volume. Ah, this is so painful. Am I dying? Could she not be here? Impossible. In my past life, she was right nearby. Maybe I'm not acting hard enough? Fine, it's time to start the show. The Duan-style acting method showtime. I pretended to be weak and collapsed back onto the bed, rolling around in agony. Seeing that she wasn't budging.
I'm exhausted.
Why hasn't this woman shown up yet? Damn it. I just flipped over and sat up. I don't know if it was from rolling too long or what, but my left foot tripped my right and I face-planted right onto the floor. Holy crap. This floor is freezing. I scrambled up quickly. Nobody saw that, right? That would totally ruin my dashing image.
HMPH. Fine.
You're still not appearing. Huh? I'm out of here. Just as my hand touched the doorknob, my wrist was gripped tight and I was pulled straight back onto the bed. Looking at the woman standing by the bed. Save me. Save you? How exactly should I save you? A hint of amusement flashed in my eyes. Look at that. You couldn't resist, could you? Shuyi. It hurts. Where does it hurt? I gestured for her to see my red hands and knees. I just fell. Hey, just this? Who brought me here? I did, of course. My agent. This is exactly right, just like in my previous life. Wait, something seems different. Did I scare her by being too proactive? I propped myself up, preparing to kiss her, but Gu Shuyi's slender finger pressed against my lips. Oh, Achin is so proactive today. Shouldn't you talk to me first? What is there to talk about? If I'd known you'd be like this, I wouldn't have been so proactive. Why don't you feel sorry for me at all? But the woman was clearly preoccupied. Gu Shuyi gently touched my face, the warm touch making her feel it was surreal. A living Achin. Thinking about how Achin was rescued by someone else in the past life. I just wanted Achin to stay obediently by my side. But if I do that, he'll never smile at me again. In the last life, because I locked Achin up, he spent the rest of his time avoiding me. Forget it. I'll let him go in this life. Gu Shuyi reached out and opened the door. You can leave. I was instantly stunned. What the hell? This didn't happen in my past life. What's going on? Why has she suddenly changed her mind? I sat on the bed without moving. Gu Shuyi. Why don't you care about me at all? I thought, feeling a bit anxious. Isn't it just about being together? Just say it. If you say it, I'll agree. Do we really have to follow the old path of the last life? With Achin's personality, how? Could he still be here saying these things? She simply took a step forward and gave a gentle push. I let myself fall back. This woman really hasn't changed. I guess that was just the butterfly effect of my rebirth. Brother, how about staying with me from now on? I'll give you whatever you want. I suddenly smiled. Those eyes were staring intently at my reaction. Here it comes, here it comes. The plot is finally back on track. Fine, since you're willing to accept me, I'll stay and be with you. Once people find out I'm with you, they'll only envy my luck. I wasn't entirely sure how big Gu Shuyi's company was. I only remember that the year I entered showbiz, she acquired an entertainment company and turned it into a top-tier agency in just 3 years. In those 3 years, she didn't have a single scandal. But it seems it took me exactly 3 years to debut. Seeing me like this, the woman was completely stunned. How is this different from what I expected? Chin Yu. You're the one who said it. No regrets allowed. When I woke up the next day, she was already gone. Oh, my aching back. This woman is surprisingly strong. Walking into the walk-in closet, seeing the men's clothing that matched my taste. I knew it. This woman is just stubborn on the outside but soft on the inside. My phone rang. It was my manager, Fu Yeshing. My god old Fu. In my past life, I was hated by the entire internet, but he was the only one who kept finding resources for me, trying to clear my name. Unfortunately, he later offended someone, and his family suffered a tragedy. He suffered a mental breakdown because of it, and in the end, he never recovered. Thinking of this, I closed my eyes. Those things were most likely because of me. The call connected, and Fu Yeshing's voice came through. You brat. I've only been on a business trip for a few days, and you've already caused this much trouble? How fierce the competition in showbiz is. Do you not know? Or have you just not seen it? How could you fall for the trap so easily? I'm almost embarrassed to say I'm your manager. Back at the company, nobody believed in Achin. I was the only one who thought he could make it. After all this time, he's finally showing some progress. But the road ahead for Achin will probably be even harder. I froze for a moment. Fu Yeshing actually didn't suspect me. His first reaction was that I'd been played. I listened quietly as he rambled on. Sorry, I was careless this time. Sigh. Actually, I was faking it. I didn't fall for it at all.
Fu Yexing froze.
Fu Yeshing was stunned. With his usual temper, shouldn't he be frantically explaining the details? As long as you know. Where are you now? Get to the office now. Once he confirmed I was okay, he breathed a sigh of relief. He hung up. I scrolled through the news headlines. Popular young actor uses any means to get resources. I scrolled down. The name slowly revealed itself. I hung up and went downstairs, where the butler was respectfully opening the car door. I thought the crazy woman had gone to the office. Didn't expect her to be waiting for me here. I sat in the passenger seat and looked at her.
Ashen.
Where are you going? My manager wants me at the office. Gotta make some money to support the family, right? You're with me now. You don't need to work so hard. Is my money not enough for you? After saying that, she leaned in. I looked at her. Oh my. Shuyi is truly beautiful, but we haven't gone public yet. Have we? What if one day you don't want me anymore? Shouldn't I prepare for that in advance? Shuyi stared at me for a long while. That won't happen. Took a moment before I asked her. Won't what? She didn't answer. Instead, she looked at me and spoke softly. Fasten your seatbelt. Shuyi, you're so good to me, but if one day you stop wanting me, I'll be all alone. I couldn't handle that. Hearing my words, she suddenly slammed on the brakes. There was a loud thud. My forehead slammed into the windshield, completely caught off guard. Ow. Thinking about breaking up the moment we get together. Huh? What's wrong? Do I make you feel threatened? Or do you already regret this? I shook my head hurriedly. I don't regret it at all. How could I possibly regret it? I worked hard to get this. Shuyi gave a flirtatious laugh and started the car again. We drove to the office entrance. I was in a rush to get out, but she grabbed me and shoved a card into my hand. I was so moved I almost cried. Shuyi, you're amazing. I grabbed it and quickly stuffed it in my pocket. Shuyi, goodbye. Contact me anytime. I made a phone gesture and ran toward the building. Shuyi whispered behind me. Tell me when you're off work. I'll pick you up. I nodded. As I reached the door, I realized, wait, something's wrong. Why does it feel like our roles have been reversed? I looked back, confused, and saw her standing there, quietly watching me. For some reason, I felt a sense of peace. Fu Yeshing was pacing frantically at the office entrance. After yesterday's incident, a crowd of reporters was camping outside. I had to stop Duanshin. Couldn't let him say something reckless. Then I got word from my staff. Brother Xing, he's already in the office.
Fu Yexing looked baffled.
How did he get in? How did I miss him? The reporters didn't even stop him.
Fu Yexing rushed upstairs in a panic.
I was leisurely sipping tea. I looked up at him. Got any work for me? Fu Yeshing looked at me. I have some inside information. You should take a look. Also, about last night. Caused a lot of trouble for the company. That new show was cancelled. He sat down and scratched his head. The internet's memory only lasts 3 seconds. One less appearance, and your popularity drops. Opportunities were already scarce. Now it's even worse. Curled my lip. It's fine. The result is similar to my last life. But in my previous life, I let this get me down and missed a massive opportunity. There's a casting call next Tuesday. In my last life, the Duan family wanted to comfort me. They told me to stay home and rest. They kept this news a complete secret. They only let me out once the list was finalized. I was actually touched back then. I didn't notice a thing, but in that drama, everyone except the villain became a huge hit. Every actor shot to fame. The first thing I'm changing in this life is that I must attend that casting call. Fu Yeshing saw that I wasn't worried at all. He frowned deeply. Wake up, get it together. Your chances of getting a role were already slim. If you don't fight for it now, not even a god can save you. He pulled out a few scripts. See if any of these interest you. Get ready for auditions in the next few days. I already have a goal. I'm going to the Ling High casting call. Fu Yeshing's eyes widened. Are you serious? I heard there will be at least 1,000 people there. Those few slots are being fought over by A-list and B-list stars. How do you plan to compete with them? I said seriously. That's exactly why. I have to go. Even if there's only a 1 in 1,000 chance. It's better than idling away in these mediocre scripts. That's all I have to say. I turned my back to him. Fu Yeshing looked at my back, sighing with worry. Fine. Try it if you want. It's not like one more failure will hurt. I replied cheekily. I looked down and saw my phone ringing again. It was my father, Duan Mutian. Couldn't help but sneer. The things from my last life. I haven't forgotten a single thing. I grew up in an orphanage. Later, the Duan family came for me, saying that I was their long-lost biological son. I treated them with all my heart, but Duan Mutian never treated me like family. Back when I was maliciously framed by colleagues and smeared across the internet, instead of helping me clear my name, instead, he used the guise of comforting me to put me under house arrest. After that, he frequently dragged me to business dinners, claiming it was to expand my network. Knowing full well that I have a bad stomach, he forced me to drink heavily every single time, systematically destroying my health. My acting opportunities were exposed, but he secretly intercepted every single one, transferring them all to his other son. He ruthlessly crushed my promising career in acting, leaving me to suffer through illness and online abuse, falling to the absolute bottom. All the suffering I endured in my previous life was a calculated plot by the Duan family. I clenched my fists. The grievances and resentment of my past life are etched deep into my heart. Because of Duan Mutian's meticulous schemes, Gu Shuyi spent her previous life protecting me, taking all the fabricated blame upon herself. Such a gentle and beautiful girl ended up with such a tragic fate. How could I not hate the entire Duan family? The call connected, cleared my throat. What is it? As expected, Duan Mutian sounded very concerned. I've seen what's happening online. Dad believes in you. Where are you now? I'll send someone to pick you up. I refused coldly. No need. The company is already handling it. I won't trouble you. Fu Yeshing watched me from the side, seeing me stand there like a boss, yet my tone sounded perfectly like someone driven to a dead end. My expression was quite a performance. He muttered under his breath, act a bit more convincingly. I can't even watch this. What do you mean trouble? You are my son, the hope of the Duan family's future, the only bloodline your mother left in this world. If I don't protect you when you're in trouble, who will? He sounded so righteous. I sneered inwardly. If he really wanted to protect me, those online rumors should have been cleared long ago. After all, anyone can say pretty words. Duan Qin, are you listening? I pressed the speakerphone. Duan Mutian continued his hypocrisy. The online abuse has been terrible lately, and it must be hard for you at the company. Why don't you come home and rest for a while? I sounded cautious, almost humble. I don't need to rest. Can I go back to get some things? After saying that, I took a huge gulp of milk from the table. Duan Mutian laughed. Get some things? Once you step through the Duan family door, you should be obedient. Of course you can, but I think your company won't give you any good roles anymore. Why not leave the entertainment industry and come home to inherit the family business? Duan Mutian spoke as if he desperately needed an heir, and as if he truly supported his son's dreams. I immediately acted surprised. Really? Since I'm already in this state, it'll be hard to make a comeback. Maybe I should learn how to manage the company from you. Duan Mutian's expression shifted. Didn't you always want to make a name for yourself in the industry? Didn't you always want to carve a path in entertainment? Didn't you always want to be known in the industry? Don't force yourself. I have a dinner party tonight, and many famous directors will be there. I'll take you to meet them. How could I possibly give the family assets to him? He can't possibly support the Duan family's empire. He doesn't deserve the family inheritance. Fu Yeshing listened to the voice on speaker and cooperatively stayed silent. Seeing me agree half-heartedly, as soon as I hung up, Fu Yeshing patted his chest. Achin, don't tell me that you're actually a young master from some wealthy family out here experiencing life. If that's the case, do you still have a chance to turn things around? I tossed my phone aside. I'm just someone adopted by a big family. We won't rely on them. We rely on ourselves. Got it? I spoke as if I were educating a child. After that, I chuckled to myself. Am I not relying on Gu Shuyi's support right now? But that's okay. I will give everything to build a career, and one day it'll be my turn to protect Gu Shuyi. Soon, Duan Mutian would send someone to pick me up. I still have some important documents at the Duan residence. But once I go, it might be hard to escape. Moreover, at the dinner party, the Duan family will definitely plot something. As I pondered how to get away, I suddenly thought of my darling. Right, why not just have Gu Shuyi pick me up? Before long, the Duan family's people arrived. Unlike in my previous life, this time Duan Mutian came personally. Fearing attention, he specifically waited at the back door. Duan Mutian had a fake smile on his face. Let's go. Many directors and producers are waiting. I felt a surge of regret. In my last life, I actually failed to see through his hypocrisy. The party was crowded. Walking beside him, my presence wasn't any weaker. I narrowed my eyes. In my previous life, at this time, I was being kept at home by Gu Shuyi. Later, when I finally got out, I did attend a party like this. Back then, I followed Duan Mutian's lead and drank that glass. When I woke up the next day, I was plunged into a pile of fabricated negative rumors. The other party's attitude was cold and dismissive, casually tossing me an insignificant minor role. From then on, in the eyes of some, I became a rookie who could be easily suppressed and manipulated. Lin Yan wants to meet you. He has considerable influence in the industry. Go and have a chat. Your father is always thinking of your best interests. I didn't cause a scene right then. The moment I took the glass, my guard instantly went up. I knew this drink was a trap. No way again? Can't they come up with a new trick? I looked around at the onlookers and gave a slight smile. I handed the glass back to Duan Mutian and picked up the tea beside me.
Suri, Lin Yan.
I'm taking cephalosporins, so I can't drink. My dad dotes on me the most, so let him drink this for me. You're so generous. You wouldn't mind, right? I raised my teacup. I'll use tea instead of wine. To toast you. Duan Mutian started to panic. After all, Everyone knew what had been added to it. What's wrong, Dad? Don't you love me the most? It's just a glass of wine. You wouldn't refuse, would you? Ms. Lee's expression shifted. Young Master Duan came to this gathering and doesn't intend to show me any respect? Duan Mutian's face darkened. What's the big deal about one glass of wine? I worked so hard to get you this opportunity. Don't make Mr. Lee unhappy. I slid the glass back. So what's the problem with making you drink it? So it turns out that your claim that no one can bully your own son was a lie. A glass was forced into Duan Mutian's hand. He was seething with rage. Your son isn't very sensible, is he? I'll have to reconsider our cooperation. Li Dai said this, but his eyes hid a calculating confidence. I immediately pretended to be nervous and worried. Please don't, Mr. Li. You haven't seen what I'm capable of yet. I can definitely bring you great benefits. Lin Yan felt smug inside, but on the surface he played hard to get. Then, will you drink it? I looked at the glass with difficulty and nodded as if accepting my fate. Everyone was ready for the show, but I walked to the edge of the table and poured myself some from a freshly opened bottle of red wine. My dad already held that glass. It wouldn't be appropriate to take it back. This glass is my toast to you. After saying that, I downed it in one gulp. Duan Mutian was so angry he nearly smashed his glass. I can't actually drink much, although I trained myself in my past life. In this life, I've barely touched a drop. I took a moment to check my phone. Gu Shuyi hadn't replied. She's probably busy. Looks like I'll have to stall a bit longer. Ms. Li nodded with satisfaction. I noticed Li Dai looking at me strangely. I immediately became alert. There's probably a trap in this wine. But just as she was about to touch me, the door was suddenly pushed open with force. On the woman's face was deep displeasure and an overwhelming sense of pressure. It hit me instantly. The once joyful atmosphere in the room suddenly fell silent for a moment. Everyone looked at the newcomer in silence. Their hearts were instantly thrown into turmoil. It was actually Gu Shuyi. They had indeed sent Gu Shuyi an invitation. They never expected the arrogant Gu Shuyi to actually show up. Li Dai immediately stepped forward with his glass. He said nervously, to think that Ms. Gu would grace us with her presence. We should have prepared this place much better. I secretly slapped myself in the head. Such a great chance to cling to power, and I just let it slip away. Someone nearby gave a dry laugh. I really didn't expect that Ms. Gu would find time in her busy schedule to attend this dinner party. Gu Shuyi didn't acknowledge them from start to finish. She scanned the surroundings with a cold expression. Achin was just messaging me, telling me to come over. Where is he? I'll drink a penalty glass. Ms. Li naturally noticed as well. She raised her glass and drank it all. Please take the seat of honor. Someone quick-witted led her to the center, the most prominent position in the room. Gu Shuyi drew everyone's attention. The atmosphere of the banquet instantly dropped to freezing. Some people whispered to each other in confusion. Who is this woman? Keep your voice down. This is the Gu Shuyi from the Gu family. She had a falling out with her family back then and left home, starting from scratch. In just a few short years, she built an empire that even the Gu family feared, right? I heard that during the early stages of her business, she really faced a lot of suppression, but she relied on her rock-solid business skills and legitimate operations to establish her footing. Now, everyone in the industry respects her. Yeah, her strength is undeniable. Duan Mutian saw the big shots around him, all crowding around one woman. This woman's identity must be extraordinary. He immediately stepped forward enthusiastically with a glass. Hello. I am the executive president of the Duan Group. This is my first time meeting you. I've heard so much about you. Gu Shuyi heard this voice. She consciously turned her head to look. On the face that had been ignoring everyone, there was actually a faint smile. Duan Mutian felt a surge of joy. Gu Shuyi looked at the man before her. How could it be the first time? You were the one who plotted against Achin at every turn, making him suffer so much, almost ruining his entire future. Gu Shuyi casually picked up the red wine bottle nearby. Duan Mutian stepped forward, feeling delighted. I really didn't expect this. The lady actually took an interest in me among so many people. Good eye. Li Dai and Li Yun proactively took the bottle and filled it for him. Duan Mutian raised the glass and downed it. People around them stepped forward to exchange pleasantries. Gu Shuyi watched quietly as Duan Mutian handled one glass after another. Duan Mutian's stomach began to churn. Duan Mutian reached out to rub his stomach. This feeling was truly unbearable. Li Yan said displeasedly, "What? Are you refusing to show Ms. Gu some respect?" Duan Mutian had no way out. He felt his entire stomach filled with the smell of alcohol. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he saw me watching the show. I was standing there holding a cup of tea, calmly watching my woman, Gu Shuyi. She's just too cool, as expected of the woman I chose. Achin, come over and introduce yourself. To Ms. Gu, Duan Mutian's posture clearly showed he wanted to shift the trouble to me. I wasn't afraid at all. I walked over with a bright smile. This is my son. You look to be about the same age. Why don't you two communicate more? People of the same age might have more to talk about. Duan Mutian smiled beside her. Then he couldn't help but let out a drunken hiccup. He could use this opportunity to let Duan Chen know that I was truly thinking of his best interests. Ms. Gu, my health isn't great, so I can't accompany you in drinking. I see my dad still has plenty of energy, so why not let him continue to drink with you? I didn't hesitate to give my woman the respect she deserved. The people around gasped. This kid really is a newborn calf who doesn't fear the tiger. Does he even know who he's rejecting? But the woman turned her head and didn't even look at me. She slowly nodded. She just agreed. A flash of anger crossed Duan Mutian's eyes. No way. If I keep drinking like this, I'll end up in the hospital in a moment. A look of struggle appeared on Duan Mutian's face. The woman remained silent. Bai Ji's fingers gently traced the rim of the wine glass, just holding it, playing with it. The atmosphere grew oppressive. Gu Shuyi sat lazily in her chair, watching me laugh without restraint. She paused for a moment. Wait, why isn't Chen angry? In my past life, he fought with me constantly because of his father. Right now, I'm feeling absolutely thrilled. But then I turned my head. My heart suddenly skipped a beat. Oh no.
I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
Will my Shuyi think I'm an unfilial son? Should I pretend to be a good son now? Go over and show some concern. Gu Shuyi soon shifted her gaze back, seeing Duan Mutian hesitate for a long time without moving. Gu Shuyi spoke, since you can't drink anymore, then finish the glass on your table. Duan Mutian looked at Gu Shuyi in disbelief, then turned to look at an equally shocked Li Yan. She knows everything. Gu Shuyi ignored their silent exchange, unable to withstand the pressure. Duan Mutian drank the wine. Boring. How dull. She raised her hand, looking at her fingers, saying nonchalantly, you didn't actually think you were being discreet, did you? I noticed something was wrong. I hurriedly stepped forward to support her. I'm sorry. My father has caused you trouble. I hope you won't hold it against him. He's old. He doesn't know any better. Gu Shuyi watched me walk over with a beaming smile. Is she taking a liking to this young man? I felt the red wine from earlier hitting me. My head felt dizzy. She took the opportunity to support me, saying softly, Chen, you should be sensible, right? Then come with me. A storm raged in Duan Mutian's heart. When did this cheap son get close to Gu Shuyi? Li Yuan's face instantly turned pale. What should I do? I actually tried to take advantage of her man just now. She won't retaliate against me, will she? Gu Shuyi walked toward the door, without glancing at anyone in the ballroom from start to finish, leaving behind a crowd of stunned onlookers. They thought they'd see me being lectured in public, but they didn't expect Miss Gu to just leave like that. Just as Gu Shuyi reached the door, she suddenly stopped, turning back to look at me still standing there. She gave a gentle smile. Chen. Hurry up and come here. Coming. Right here. I scurried after her. Look at him, he's actually happy. The crowd around saw this. They sighed. Whose foolish rich son is this? So happy even though he's facing his doom. I was forcefully pushed into the passenger seat by her. Then she directly sealed my lips. What is she doing? A surprise attack. I hurriedly backed away. My gaze shifted outside the window. Gu Shuyi turned her head and saw my sharp jawline. Chen. You're not allowed to attend these kinds of parties next time. Gu Shuyi gave me an order in a suggestive tone. She lightly pursed her red lips. Chen's drinking. Gu Shuyi's expression instantly soured. She slammed the accelerator to the floor. The alcohol started to kick in. I felt my whole body becoming groggy. Gu Shuyi keenly noticed my state. She slowed down the car, driving as smoothly as possible, looking at me openly, with a sweet smile on her face. I squinted and peeked at her. Is she captivated by my handsome looks? Under her burning gaze, I started pretending to be drunk, moaning and complaining. So hot. Humph. Chen, do you know how you look right now? Gu Shuyi asked, lightly pursing her lips, not forgetting to turn on the AC while speaking. I looked at her with a confused expression, flirting without even knowing it. Gu Shuyi said to herself. On the surface, I still looked confused, but inside I was over the moon. I'm not. I shook my head, which made me even dizzier. Gu Shuyi pulled the car over to the side of the road, slowly leaning closer to me. Do you know how much I wanted to just drag you home just now? I suddenly asked an ill-timed question. Why did you treat my father like that just now? Chen doesn't know about the past life, nor does he know that the father he respects would eventually devour him. Should I try to communicate this with her now? Gu Shuyi suddenly stopped talking. The atmosphere in the car shifted from flirtatious to silent. Thinking of this, Gu Shuyi spoke directly. Chen, do you know? I went to investigate a few things today. Gu Shuyi didn't answer my question. Instead, she slowly told me about something else. I looked at her, puzzled. The people who spread those rumors, and all the related fake information have been cleared. My Chen is so kind. Wanna guess who's trying to harm you? I shook my head, like a well-behaved, cute big puppy. The person harming you is Duan Mutian. Gu Shuyi whispered the truth slowly in my ear. How is that possible? You must be lying to me. My father is so good to me. How could he hire people to harm me? I shook my head frantically. The veins on the hand gripping the seatbelt bulged. Then I reached out and pushed the woman away, just as expected of me. Damn, I'm a natural. I silently praised myself. Shuyi didn't expect me to believe her all at once. She was just giving me a heads up. She gave me a pitying kiss. I sat in my seat, pretending to be a pitiful, abandoned soul. I knew Shuyi had no reason to lie to me. I hadn't spent much time with Duan Mutian to begin with. In total, it was only about half a year. Shuyi's words planted a seed of doubt in my heart. Sitting in the passenger seat, I whispered softly, "Can't be. My father wouldn't do such a thing. He's the only family I have left in this world." Shuyi reached out and stroked my head, comforting me. "Be good, Achin. You still have me." I looked at her cautiously. "Really?" The smile on Shuyi's lips grew more radiant. "Of course it's true. No matter what happens in the future, I will always be by your side. Will you abandon me?" I gripped her hand tightly, waiting with anticipation, waiting for her answer. Shuyi looked at me with a smile in her eyes. "Of course not. But it depends on your performance. I won't let you down." I nodded eagerly. Then I kissed her delicate hand. Then I continued, sounding heartbroken. "Feels like you're all I have left." Shuyi patted my hand to comfort me. Then she started the car. Satisfaction filled Shuyi's eyes. "Mayachin, in this life you can only have me." I sat there quietly, very satisfied with my acting. My Shuyi is so easy to fool. But soon, I couldn't smile anymore. She sped all the way home, took me straight to the bedroom. The next morning arrived. I was woken up by the phone ringing. I looked down at the caller ID. "Oh, isn't this my pathetic father? After drinking that glass of wine yesterday, he actually has time to call me today." I felt a bit sorry for him. A voice called out Achin. His voice was filled with anxiety. I replied lazily. Duan Mutian spoke, pretending to care. "Why does this kid sound so relaxed? What exactly is going on between those two? Where are you now? Miss Gu didn't do anything to you, did she?" This fake concern made me feel sick. I pretended to be deeply moved. "I didn't expect you, Dad, to care about me this much. She didn't make things hard for me yesterday. She just gave me a business card and told me to accompany her at her mansion in a while. Then she just dumped me on the roadside." The reason I said this was to let him know that he'd better be dead. That desire to lock me up in the Duan family home. Duan Mutian rubbed his still aching stomach. He found it hard to believe. "Even after all that, this kid is completely fine. She really didn't make things hard for you?" "No, she was quite nice to me. Except the waiter told her someone spiked the wine." "Dad, do you know about this?" I said nonchalantly. Duan Mutian's heart skipped a beat. He stuttered. "What wine? What do you mean? I'm not sure. Didn't Li Yun swear that no one would know? What happened? How was it seen? Useless woman. If Shuyi looks at my cheap son and finds out I drugged Duan Chun with someone else, it'll be a disaster." Thinking this, cold sweat began to pour down. "Did Miss Gu say who it was?" I asked curiously. "No. She just dumped me on the roadside after speaking." As if trying to distance himself, Duan Mutian left a "glad you're okay" and hung up immediately. I looked at the disconnected call. Feeling great, I slowly climbed out of bed to wash up, with a hint of regret in my heart. Shuyi's bed is truly huge and soft. I could sleep on it every day and never get tired of it. Sigh, what a pity. We haven't gone public with our relationship yet. It's not convenient to stay here long term. After washing up, I walked to the living room. The butler stopped me. On the tray were plain porridge and a hangover soup. "Mr. Duan, this was specially ordered by the eldest miss," the butler said from the side. "I was actually planning to go out for breakfast. My Shuyi is so thoughtful. After drinking yesterday, my stomach is feeling uncomfortable." But there was a hint of confusion in my eyes. "Does Shuyi know I have a bad stomach? Shouldn't a normal breakfast have buns and side dishes? Why is it just this simple plain porridge?" The butler looked at me, hesitating slightly, and kindly reminded me, "Please rest assured, Mr. Duan. Both the plain porridge and the hangover soup were specially ordered by the eldest miss to be freshly brewed." Hearing this, my hand holding the soup paused. This butler is truly dedicated. I finished it quickly. After all, I had work to handle. I walked straight to the door. The driver respectfully opened the car door. "The eldest miss is busy with work today and asked me to inform you that she cannot drive you to work. She hopes you can understand." The driver relayed the message discreetly. I felt a bit of disdain. Is the eldest miss perhaps loving this man a bit too much? I've never seen a CEO treat anyone like this, and her attitude is so humble. She's busy with work, has no time to send him, and still apologizes. The massage function of the seat relaxed my body and mind. I nodded with contentment. I opened my phone and found the contact. I took a photo of myself sitting properly in the car and sent it over. "I'm up. Another day of working hard." The other side replied quickly, "Message me if you're tired, and I'll come pick you up." It gave off the vibe of a dominant little wife, making me feel like going to work was just a way to experience life. Satisfied, I sent an okay emoji. I headed to the company in a great mood. Fu Yeshing had been in the office for a long time, waiting anxiously. The company put pressure on him today. If he couldn't produce another high-performing artist, then all the artists under his name will have to pack their bags and get lost. Fu Yeshing thought it over. The other few were indeed mediocre. Looking through them, the only one he could rely on now was actually just Duan-chun. Thinking of my stubborn attitude, Fu Yexing pressed his temples with a headache. God help me, let the selection for the Linghai crew end quickly, then break Duan-chen's spirit. Then completely crush Duan-chen's will, so he can settle down and work hard. Fu Yexing was restless, standing up and sitting down. Just then, he heard someone speaking outside. How did the talk with that old man go yesterday? Is he satisfied with you? Did he assign any roles to you? The man speaking is Tang Feiyu. He joined the company at the same time as Fu Yexing. Tang Feiyu was clearly a newcomer too, but he's already managed an artist who's gained some fame. Fu Yexing knows well, the entertainment industry is inherently cutthroat. For a newcomer to get a role, they either rely on solid professional skill and networking, or they take some unconventional shortcuts. Any artist in the company with a bit of fame usually has someone or a family backing them. Fu Yexing rubbed his chin anxiously, realizing the sudden spark of ambition he just felt. He gave himself a harsh scolding. You can't let your own greed ruin Duan-chen's future. A Chun is meant to be a star who is truly loved by people. I should go see if any production crews still need actors. But after asking around, by the time he returned to the office, he saw me lounging around, sitting on the sofa playing with my phone. Just as he sat down beside me, Tang Feiyu happened to push the door open. Seeing the two of us sitting there blankly, he let out a rude laugh. His words were dripping with sarcasm. Tell me, why is the gap between people so huge? We were classmates from the same school, yet I, the poor student, have delivered results, while a certain top student. What's going on? Why haven't I seen a single ripple from him? Fu Yexing clenched his fists, but he couldn't refute it. He lowered his head again. The gap between the good student and the bad student has finally emerged. A good student, however, would never be smug over such a small achievement, nor would they be this arrogant in front of others. I slowly placed the teacup on the table. I praised myself inwardly. I really am a clever little thing, knowing how to stay healthy and how to clap back.
Fu Yexing looked troubled.
He wanted to shut Duan-chen's rambling mouth. Can we even afford to offend Tang Feiyu at this stage? If the company makes a choice later, we'll definitely be the first ones kicked out. That's because he has the capital to brag. Tang Feiyu gave me a look full of irony, then turned to look at Fu Yexing. The top student who was always so high and mighty is now acting all timid and submissive before me. Satisfying. Don't celebrate too early. The river flows east for 30 years, then it flows west. Fortunes change. Maybe before long, the things you're bragging about will be worthless in his eyes. I let out a yawn and slowly put down my phone. The phone displayed a novel interface scrolling across the screen. Then I'll certainly look forward to it. With artists under him and managers who are all useless, what kind of dazzling results could he possibly achieve? Tang Feiyu's face soured. Seeing how indifferent I was, he continued, the artists under me are truly diligent, spending every day studying their acting and keeping up with industry trends. Unlike the artists some people manage, who actually have time to read novels right now. Fu Yexing couldn't hold it in anymore. He shot back with a cold remark. Whether they're actually studying acting, I think you know the truth in your heart. Tang Feiyu gave a cold snort, then turned and slammed the door as he left. He's just relying on his backers, isn't he? Fu Yexing cursed at his retreating back. If the partnership ends one day, he'll just be a stray dog on the street. As he spoke, he turned to advise me sincerely, Duan-chen, it's a good thing you didn't end up in his hands. Otherwise, he'd definitely lead you to do some shady business. You'd better work hard on polishing your craft. Otherwise, it'll be hard to get good resources. Of course, Fu Yexing's last sentence was a joke, but as he spoke, the smile on his face suddenly froze. I sat on the sofa with my legs crossed, looking down at the novel in my hand, with a faint red mark on my neck. I'd accidentally gotten it yesterday.
Fu Yexing gasped.
Duan-chen, tell me the truth. What is the meaning of this? Don't tell me you've gotten involved with someone recently. Tell me the truth. What happened? The hand pointing at my neck slowly lowered. How is that possible? I shook my head. I looked up, but I didn't stop reading the novel. Don't lie to me, with a mark like that on you. Fu Yexing had a look that said, I'm naive, don't try to fool me. I sighed helplessly. I really didn't do it for a single role. I'm aiming for a whole bunch of roles, and the genuine love of that woman. Seeing Fu Yexing's brain crash, unable to process what I said, rather than hitting walls everywhere, waiting for a slim chance, it's better to find a platform that truly recognizes my strength. Start by gaining a foothold, and take it step by step. Fu Yexing reached out to lean on the table, feeling like he couldn't stand steady. Duan-chun, you're insane. Come on. Tell me who that person is. Don't tell me. It's the one who wouldn't come off the trending searches. What kind of role could that person give you? My lip twitched slightly. I denied it. No. Do you think that person is worthy? Fu Yexing's expression shifted rapidly. Is it one of our company leaders? Fu Yexing wondered to himself. Duan-chun doesn't go anywhere usually, and knows very few people. Who could it be? I thought about it for a moment. My Shuyi seems to have some collaboration with the company. Since there's collaboration, she can be considered a leader. So I nodded. Our manager?
Fu Yexing asked tentatively.
No. I denied it and he guessed again. Then is it Manager Nyen? I denied it again. No. Fu Yexing's expression was becoming terrifying. Couldn't be the CEO, could it? The CEO? Neither. I kept shaking my head. Fu Yexing was slightly shocked. Is it the CEO? Then is it the Chief Executive Director? Fu Yexing's expression was now hard to describe. None of them. I pondered Gu Shuyi's position in the company. Don't tell me she's a board member. Fu Yexing's expression. Having just seen the marks on my body, he looked even more shocked. I can't take it, my head is spinning. A table isn't enough for me anymore. Get me a bed now. I need to lie down. I thought for a moment, the position of chairperson, compared to my Shuyi's status, seems to fall a little bit short, but I guess there's nothing higher than that. I nodded reluctantly. Fu Yexing's expression was a whirlwind of emotions. His lip twitched as he spoke. Ashen. You really are one to keep quiet until you strike like thunder. Fu Yexing didn't know whether to be happy or sad at this moment. He could only try to comfort himself inwardly. Forget it. Forget it. It is what it is. At least the kid managed to cling to a powerful back, and a very powerful one at that. I slowly picked up my phone and started browsing. Just then, there was a knock at the door. A few people walked in. Brother Fu. I looked up at the newcomers. They looked somewhat familiar. Fu Yexing was also surprised. He frowned slightly. Why aren't you in the training room practicing? What are you doing here? These were the other artists under his management. They spoke with absolute confidence. We came here today to discuss the termination of our contracts. Fu Yexing suppressed his surprise and spoke tactfully. There are still 3 years left on the contract. Terminating early requires a breach of contract fee. That fee for you should be quite a significant amount. If an artist becomes an overnight sensation, they wouldn't have to worry about the fee. But these people were clearly nowhere near famous, especially since they were rookies with no fan base or actual talent. You're looking down on us? The man leading them suddenly sneered. I frowned and said, he's just looking out for you. This scene felt familiar. I heard some third-rate company was poaching people everywhere. Quite a few people were tricked back then. Luckily, my scandals had already been exposed. I was honored that the company didn't want me. Looking out for me? The person least qualified to say that in this whole group is you. The leading man gave a mocking laugh. He looked at me with utter contempt. Following a useless manager. I'd like to see just how far you can actually go. By the time I become a top star, you'll still be struggling in the mud. Fu Yexing was speechless upon hearing this. From the sound of it seemed that by leaving me, he'd immediately strike gold and become an A-list celebrity overnight. What a pipe dream. I gave the artist a meaningful look. I don't care. If you want to leave, leave. As long as you pay the penalty, you can do whatever you want. The male artist sneered. I hope it stays that way. Once I'm famous, don't try to ride my coattails. Don't tell the audience or the media that we ever had any connection. After speaking, he slammed the agreement on the table. Fu Yexing saw they were determined to leave and didn't intend to stop them. He took the agreement and led them straight to HR. Then stamping, signing and paying, all in one smooth motion. Looking at the amount of the penalty, Fu Yexing frowned deeply. These people had been with the company for so long, yet they hadn't brought in any money. They hadn't contributed a dime to the company. The company wanted to fire them long ago, but since they signed a contract, they had to put up with them. Now that they were paying to break the contract, the company would definitely be happy. But with them gone, the company would probably push more rookies on me. After seeing them off, Fu Yexing sat back down with a miserable face. People with talent who can actually make it are few and far between. If they shove more people my way, they'll probably end up just like those who left. Hearing this, I turned to look at Fu Yexing. I asked with full confidence, I have an idea. I wonder if you're willing to hear it.
Fu Yexing sat bésideme.
Looking ready to listen intently. If you're willing to trust me, then from this day forward, I alone can guarantee your future success. Fu Yexing scratched his head. But you have to understand, I don't have any impressive connections. All I can do is gather as many resources for you as possible. That could be a major drawback for your growth. What Fu Yexing said wasn't false. After all, this is normal in the company. Whenever someone achieves a bit of success, the company assigns a more capable and talented manager to ensure the artist's future remains on track. But after the trending scandals of my previous life, I can't trust anyone in this company ever again. I shook my head. Brother Fu, I'm just a rookie who knows nothing, and I believe in you. I believe in our partnership. If you're willing, we can draft the contract right now. Fu Yexing knew his own limits. Few people would be willing to sign such a contract, unless the other party was a truly ace manager. Duan Chen's ambition is quite something. Can my skills and methods really match it? But stop with the buts. I interrupted him directly. I'll ask you just one thing. Fu Yexing looked at my determined and serious expression, and nodded without hesitation. Then here's to our brilliant future. Fu Yexing wasn't as decisive internally as he seemed. He didn't expect Duan Chun to trust him this much. I breathed a sigh of relief. Fu Yexing was capable. His rankings and awards during college proved that. Moreover, Fu Yexing possessed qualities other managers lacked. He just wasn't bold enough in handling problems. I suddenly thought about what happened in my past life. I stood up and shook his hand. To a successful partnership, then. The two of us headed out to draft the contract. Just as we reached the door, we came face to face with a pair of eyes. I looked down and rubbed my nose, remaining silent. Gunyen.
Fu Yexing reacted quickly.
He shielded me behind him and greeted her with great respect. I noticed that many company bigwigs were standing behind Gu Shuyi. They followed very humbly. Gu Shuyi glanced at me casually. Then she walked away without a second thought. Fu Yexing watched her departing figure. Gu Nian's presence is truly overwhelming. His voice grew quieter and quieter, because he noticed the woman, who was about to turn the corner, suddenly turned her head and looked back. I wasn't speaking loudly. Fu Yexing wondered to himself. My lip twitched. Why is she looking at me? Can't even get a moment's peace at the office. Huh? Fu Yexing, go draft the contract first. I turned and said calmly to Fu Yexing, I'm going to the restroom. I'll be back in a bit. Hurry it up.
Fu Yexing nodded.
Then he turned and went upstairs to print. Just as I was passing through the emergency exit, a small hand pulled me inside. I knew my Gu Shuyi missed me. I made my expression look slightly panicked, and let myself be pulled in by her force. Gu Shuyi reached out and gently grabbed my wrist. I was completely overwhelmed. People will be passing by outside. They won't. Gu Shuyi didn't stop. There's a group of executives standing at the corner. Which blind fool would come this way? She leaned in and whispered to me. A moment later, she turned and pushed the door open to leave. I came face to face with several company veterans, standing at the corner waiting. For a moment, I didn't know if I should go over. Why are you coming from that way? Leave quickly. Is this a place you should be? Gu's information must have leaked out, attracting the company's attention. Miss Gu is a real prize. Countless people want to suck up to her. This kid is probably one of them. Do you think Miss Gu has some private matter? Could she be constipated? Otherwise, why has she been in there so long? The veterans spoke in moderate tones. I stumbled as I turned the corner, wondering if I had heard correctly. I decided to hide at the corner and eavesdrop. We can't get a doctor over here. Is that necessary? I was too embarrassed to listen. The high and mighty Gu Shuyi, being misunderstood like this. It was too funny. Gu Shuyi came out, followed by several veterans. Several veterans looked at her expression and thought, look at how much struggle this is. Oh, Miss Gu, you work so hard every day. My family has some high-quality wellness tea. I'll prepare some for you later. One of the veterans flattered her from the side. Gu Shuyi thought for a moment. Achin seems to have been working quite hard lately, and he's often staying up late. Some wellness tea to recover would be good. Then I won't be polite. Exactly, that's what you call the right cure for the problem. That executive immediately looked flattered. People who know how to talk really are different. Look, one sentence and Miss Gu is in a great mood. The people around looked at him. I pushed the door open and returned to the office. Chin. Was there someone you knew among those executives? Otherwise, why did you just turn and leave? And why were you gone for so long? Since we'll be collaborating in the future, I didn't really hide it. I nodded decisively.
Fu Yexing gasped.
The group that came today, aside from Miss Gu, the rest of them are all. Poor Achin, he's really suffering. I don't know what the manager is thinking, but anyway, I'm quite happy right now. Fu Yexing looked at me. He seemed to be in a good mood. Everything you're putting in now will one day be proportional to your achievements. Fu Yexing handed me the contract. He probably thought I'd study it carefully, but then he saw me flip through it casually. With a bold stroke, I signed my name directly. Fu Yexing was shocked. Duan Chun is way too reckless. Aren't you worried that the contract terms contain restrictive conditions unfavorable to you? Of course I'm not. Since you're willing to cooperate with me, we are one. I handed the contract back to him. That's for sure.
Fu Yexing nodded.
I looked at him. Now that it's signed, I'll look at this for a while. When the interview day comes, remember to sign me up. I waved my phone.
Fu Yexing frowned slightly.
What time is it? Shouldn't you be studying your acting or something? Reading a novel seems like a waste of time. I shook my head. This book is Ling Hai. There will definitely be differences between the script and the novel. Indeed, I plan to read the original book first, to grasp the correct plot, and then combine it with the script. I casually flipped through the pages on my screen. The author of this book is indeed excellent. The worldview and values in the book are vividly expressed. The plot is flawless. Fu Yexing nodded, a beat slow, preparing to go out and find some good scripts for me. After he reached the door, he finally realized, wait, something's wrong. All day today, I've been following Duan Chen's lead. Usually, he's the one listening to me. It seems Duan Chen has his own ideas now. This old man is truly gratified. I sat there, looking at this novel with some boredom. As a member of the post-death world-hopping community, having experienced so many worlds, the things I've encountered are far more bizarre than in any novel. This novel is indeed boring to me. I scrolled through my phone. Modern web novels seem a bit formulaic. The plots are mostly the same. Occasionally, a novel appears that is new and a bit unique, but the click count is abysmal. A few thousand reads and it's a hit? Who calls that a volume? I calculated my current assets. Maybe I could write something too. I casually opened my laptop, found a website online, typed some drafts and uploaded them, and then closed the laptop. In my previous life at this time, I should have been in the hospital, taking care of my father who ruined his stomach with drinking. That's right, there are still things of mine at the Duan house. I have to get them back. I sneaked out of the company, hailed a cab and went to the hospital. Duan Mutian always loved a grand display. He stayed in the hospital's top-tier suite, wishing he could hire 10 caregivers to look after him. I knocked on the door and pushed it open to enter. You have no idea how worried I've been about you in here, terrified that person might do something to you. As soon as Duan Mutian saw me enter, his eyes immediately welled up with tears. He played the part of the worried father quite well. I stood at the door, smiling as I watched him act. Don't think I don't know. Just before I walked in, he was talking a mile a minute, bragging to the caregiver. In my previous life, I probably would have rushed over to comfort him instead. Thinking of this, I pretended to be guilt-ridden and stepped forward. See? I'm right here in front of you now. Duan Mutian tried to read my expression, but all he saw was regret. He patted my hand. I was just worried about you. Suddenly, Duan Mutian clutched his chest, coughing violently. He looked incredibly frail. He'd clearly ruined his health with drinking. I immediately put on a look of extreme guilt. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have come at a time like this and made your condition worse. Then I pulled out a bank card. Dad, I have some money here. Please use it to buy some supplements. Duan Mutian relaxed. He thought, I knew my dear son couldn't stay distant from me. It seemed he didn't realize looking at the card in my hand. A flicker of greed crossed his eyes. He looked at me, pretending to be touched, and said, What are you talking about? Our family isn't short on money. Keep that little bit of money you earned at the company for yourself. He thought, there must be tens of thousands in this card. After all, since this brat started working, he hasn't given a dime to the family. He should have saved some. He probably wanted to hear the caregiver flatter him a bit before taking the card. But then he saw my look of sudden realization. That's true. The Duan family is so wealthy, you probably wouldn't care for this small amount. I sighed and stuffed the card back into my pocket. I'll just keep it then. I looked utterly heartbroken. Duan Mutian looked stunned. I didn't expect your son to be so filial. Don't worry, young Master Duan. Mr. Duan will be discharged soon. The caregiver seemed touched. Duan Mutian felt disgusted. He gave a forced laugh. Dad, I see you have plenty of people taking care of you, so I'm probably not needed. Can I go straight home tonight? I asked in a pleading tone. Duan Mutian's eyes flickered. Of course. It's your home too. Go back if you want. He thought, I'll just have the bodyguards lock the door and keep him trapped inside. I nodded happily, turned around, went downstairs, and took a cab back to the Duan residence. Looking at the magnificent mansion before me, with bodyguards and servants everywhere, passersby couldn't help but feel inferior. I remained completely unfazed. After all, during my missions, I've even lived in imperial palaces. I pushed the door open and walked in with style. The servants at the door found it strange. Oh, the sun must be rising from the west today. Where did that timid little young master go? The butler saw me and gave a slight nod, without a shred of respect. He clearly didn't value me as the young master. The servants stared at my confident demeanor, then their expressions turned mocking. I'm back to pick something up. I looked down at my toes, pretending to be cowardly. Of course you can. The butler nodded. The servants behind him scoffed. TSK, I'll show. I thought a few months away would have changed him, but he's still the same. I walked into the house. The butler looked down on me even more. If you have no further instructions, I'll get back to my work. I still need to take care of Duan Yen. The butler didn't wait for my answer and simply turned around. There's food in the fridge. If you're hungry, you can make something yourself. Hearing this, I glanced at the butler. How could there be ingredients in the fridge? After all, the Duan family buys and cooks fresh every day. Just then, a chef walked out of the kitchen, carrying 2 plates, filled with Australian lobster. Isn't my father sick? How can he eat seafood? I narrowed my eyes, scanning the 2 plates. The butler said to the chef, I have to go to the hospital today, so you can keep these for yourself. The chef immediately agreed with a beaming smile. The prestigious young master of the Duan family has to cook for himself while the chef gets lobster. This was the butler's usual fare. In my previous life, when I was treated like this, what did Duan Mutian say? He told me to just get used to it. Thinking about it carefully, Duan Mutian probably wanted to suppress me from the very start. But at the end of the day, the butler is just a servant. I am, after all, the young master of the Duan family. Does he really think I have no temper? I looked at the butler, who was taking far too many liberties, and asked, Who handled the purchase of these ingredients? The chef was stunned for a moment, but dutifully answered from the side. Usually, for groceries and things, I'm the one who does the shopping. In other words, all these ingredients were paid for by the Duan family. The butler frowned, clearly displeased. The chef realized he might have said too much and fell silent.
He walked over.
Looking at those 2 plates of lobster. Since when did the butler become a member of the Duan family? The family has been footing the bill for his meals this whole time? Actually, I was well aware of this. After all, in my previous life, I was kept locked in the Duan house. The butler always loved buying rare and expensive ingredients. I only got to eat them occasionally. I thought the Duan family wouldn't mind. I've worked here for decades. Even if he is the master's son, he's been back for too short a time to be a threat. Oh, you're truly impressive. Eating something worth thousands every once in a while? And that's not even the worst part. As the young master of the Duan family, I actually have to cook my own meals? Anyone watching would think I'm the servant here. The butler gets lobster made by a chef, while I, the young master, cook my own instant noodles, without even a side dish. At the very least, leave me an egg. The chef, still holding the plates, felt his scalp tingle with nervousness. Maybe we should leave this for the young master. After all, we didn't know he'd be returning today. If we had known, these would definitely have been reserved for you, young master. Meanwhile, the butler stared fixedly, watching my rebellious attitude. Interesting. Giving me something that even the butler won't eat. You guys really think highly of me, don't you? I narrowed my eyes. I stepped forward and took the plate directly from them. The chef didn't just breathe a sigh of relief. He shook his tired wrist. He secretly shook his wrist from carrying the tray. Look at him, calling himself some young master. A flash of mockery crossed the butler's eyes. In reality, he's still eating the leftovers we didn't want. I glanced at them and let out a whistle. The golden retriever came racing toward me. I placed the tray directly on the floor, signaling the dog to come and eat. After speaking, I leaned over and patted the dog's head. You, the butler's face darkened. I looked at him with narrowed eyes. Me what? This thing was bought with my family's money. Regardless, how I handle it is my decision as a young master of the Duan family. Since when does a servant like you get to tell me what to do? What kind of young master are you? You were the same as always when you walked in. How did your personality change so suddenly? These aren't words he would normally say. The butler was furious. I rested my legs on the coffee table, acting like the boss. I commanded, go prepare dinner for me.
I'm hungry.
My tone was familiar.
No spice.
I'm focusing on my health after all. Unintentionally, the suggestive mark on my neck was fully exposed. The butler's face suddenly dropped. Why is he so arrogant today? Has he actually made a name for himself out there? He doesn't actually think no one can control him now, does he? In his dreams, who knows how long the people he's clinging to will last. Once the hype dies down, he'll have to come back and bow his head. Humph. The chef stood there hesitantly, watching the butler's expression. The butler remained silent, so he didn't dare move. Looking at this, I might need to ask my father for instructions first. Can't I even order a servant in my own home? What are you spacing out for? Hurry up and do as the young master says. I pretended to be troubled, fiddling with my phone. If I report such a trivial matter, I'll be the one getting scolded in the end. Better to just go along with his wishes. The butler spoke with a grim face. I put away my phone, satisfied. I said smugly, see? That wasn't so hard. Honestly, wasting my data. Butler, remember to reimburse me for it. The butler's face grew even darker. I stood up immediately and headed back to my bedroom, knowing the way well. In my past life, I never actually came back to live here, but I still remember where the room is. 2nd floor by the window. 3rd floor by the window. 2nd floor by the window. The view is amazing. Warm in winter, cool in summer. The well-ventilated and dry room. I pushed the door open and entered. There were clear signs that someone had been living here. High-end sofa, projector, antique ornaments, solid wood bed. Wow. My room. Father really put a lot of effort into this. I walked in, pretending to be surprised, looking at the antique vase in the display cabinet. I picked it up to admire it. This vase is quite nice. Then I set it down casually. The butler followed me in, seeing me pick up that priceless jade pendant. He panicked instantly. Ah, young master, you can't touch that.
Duan Tai
Usually treats these antiques like his own eyes. If anything gets chipped or broken, he'll definitely explode. I turned around, looking confused. You mean this? The butler strode over, preparing to snatch it away. In his haste, he didn't notice he hit the corner of the table. The vase I had just set down fell to the floor and shattered instantly. The butler looked back in disbelief. I casually put the pendant back in its place. I said with a look of regret, "What a shame. Such a beautiful vase, broken just like that. Butler, you're far too careless." Cold sweat poured down the butler's back. The most expensive thing in the whole room was that vase. The vase Duan Tai shows off to every guest, and now it's shattered because of me. You can't blame me for this. If you hadn't been messing with things, the vase wouldn't have broken. The butler panicked. After all, he was terrified of being the scapegoat. That's a bit strange. This is my room, Naturally, everything inside belongs to me. Is it wrong for me to touch my own things? I looked completely bewildered. I casually picked up a jade ring and spun it on my finger. Moreover, you could have just told me not to touch it at the door, but you rushed over and broke the vase yourself. And now you're blaming me? I chuckled. Having completely cleared myself of blame, the butler felt his heart bleeding. I looked around casually and frowned. Why does it feel like my room has been lived in by someone else? Couldn't be you. Could it? After all, you can even boss around the chef. You don't even listen to me. I suppose it's not impossible that you live here. The butler completely panicked. Duan Chen's tongue is truly lethal. If Duan Tai actually believes his words, I'll be in deep trouble. Sigh. I was planning to stay here tonight, but looking at this, I guess there's no place for me here. I'll just take my things to the company apartment. I scanned the surroundings with disgust, suppressing the annoyance in my heart. Where are my things? This is my room. Yet my belongings aren't here. I walked up to him and patted the butler on the shoulder. Why are you spacing out? Spacing out during work hours is not allowed. This young master is asking you a question. Where are my things? In the guest room. Feeling threatened, the butler forced the words out. I let out a low laugh. My room. But my things were tossed into a guest room? It seems that from the very beginning, the Duan family never treated me as one of their own. The butler looked at my naturally imposing presence and was momentarily stunned. With a face full of utter despair, I headed to the guest room, knowing the way. I found my things and packed them into my bag and prepared to leave immediately. Only then did the butler remember his duty. Young master, I'm sorry. It was all my fault. This matter has nothing to do with Duan Yen. A simple apology can't compensate for the harm you've caused me. The butler certainly knows how to play both sides. 1 second, because I'm burdened with millions in debt. The next second, he can still speak to me so calmly. It's all up to the young master's disposal. The butler quickly arranged for guards to watch the door, forbidding me from going out alone for now. I'm not in a rush. After all, I still have my phone. I walked toward the door, pretending to be distressed, looking at the circle of burly bodyguards and smiled. Butler, you're being a bit unfair here, having so many people block me. What is the meaning of this? I turned to look at the butler. Young master. As you know, I'm just a servant. The butler hoped that when Duan Yen returned, seeing how dutiful I've been, he might excuse me from any punishment. I wasn't as panicked as everyone imagined. Instead, I took out my phone, dialed a number, and even put it on speaker. The number you have dialed is powered off. My arrogant smile gradually faded. Then, I looked around helplessly. This idiot, he's not actually trying to call his dad for help. Is he? Gun Yen had no time to bother with him right now. After all, locking him up was Duan Yen's idea. The butler wore a smug expression. I looked at the butler pleadingly. I won't tell my father about this. I'll just say De Huang did it. There's still business at the company. Can you please let me out? De Huang is that golden retriever. Fearing my acting wasn't convincing enough, I pinched my thigh hard. Now we're talking. Tears almost streamed down my face. Sorry, young master. To prevent you from causing more trouble, please move to the guest room to rest. The butler signaled the bodyguards to step forward, looking like a petty man who'd finally hit it big. I dialed the number again. This time, I specifically didn't use the speaker. The call was picked up quickly. My voice sounded utterly helpless. Didn't you say last time we'd drink together? Could you come pick me up from my house? I'll drink with you. Gu Shui's lips curled slightly. Then she hung up immediately. I stood up, my steps almost radiating joy. Then I was sent back to that all too familiar guest room. At some point, a gold chain appeared around my ankle. Felt heavy. I suddenly found it quite funny. Even though the path is exactly the same as my last life, I feel strangely more at peace this time. Probably because Gu Shuyi is here. Seeing me gradually submit, the butler snorted coldly and locked the guest room door. I leisurely pulled a few bags of snacks from my bag, eating them with pure bliss. I haven't had these snacks since I was reborn. They're actually quite tasty. In my last life, my stomach was always fragile. My stomach was always so weak. The doctor strictly warned me to avoid these, but I should still eat these in moderation. A hint of regret flashed in my eyes. I took the opportunity to observe the room carefully. Great. I've been invited back to this familiar room, but this room isn't as exquisite as the one Shuyi prepares. At that thought, my lip twitched, trapped again. Luckily, someone is coming to save me this time. I let out a slightly sorrowful sigh. Suddenly, I heard the sound of synchronized footsteps outside. I quietly stuffed all the snacks under the bed and prepared to play the part of a pitiful white lotus. The butler was just about to call Duan Yen to report when he heard a commotion at the door. He immediately walked over. A sea of black-clad bodyguards, escorting a woman inside. The clicking of high heels on the floor created an invisible sense of pressure. At first glance, the butler knew she didn't come in peace. Who are you? Gu Shui stopped. The bodyguards behind her stepped forward, their aura intimidating. Their presence was overwhelming, truly intimidating. With hands on their hips, they glared at the butler. Where is he? The butler was stunned. Who? Who in the Duan family offended such a powerful figure? Don't look at me like that. I'm just the butler who works for a salary. The surrounding servants didn't dare step forward. If they got caught in the crossfire, it wouldn't be worth it. Not worth it at all. That aura made it clear she wasn't someone to mess with. Shuyi ignored the butler and walked straight to the guest room. She didn't see me at first. The displeasure on her face deepened. Just then, the sound of banging on a door echoed, accompanied by a panicked male voice. Shuyi, is that you? Hearing this, Shuyi walked over, overwhelmed by her presence. The butler was forced to follow behind. I heard her approaching and intentionally rattled the chain on my ankle. Shuyi, did you come to save me? It's me. Chun stepped back. Stay away from the door. I did exactly as she said. All right. The bodyguards used tools to force the door open. Aren't you afraid of the Duan family's retaliation? Hearing this, Shuyi let out a short laugh. That's an interesting thing to say. Isn't a Chun being innocently detained? She looked at me trapped inside, a cold glint flashing in her eyes. Except for me, no one is allowed to bully a Chun. The butler remained in shock for a long time. The woman before him was a massive threat. Is this woman insane? I was slightly worried that Shuyi might do something extreme. No, I'm a law-abiding model citizen. My Shuyi must be the same as me. Shuyi, I called her softly. Shuyi snapped back and walked in, looking at my disheveled state. I can't open this. I began to lie with blinking eyes. When I was on missions, I specifically studied these restraints. Forget picking this lock. I could build a new one from scratch. Sigh. Isn't this the perfect chance for my Shuyi to play the hero? The bodyguards behind her were quick-witted. They brought the butler forward to open it. The butler shook his head in terror. The key isn't with me. I can't open it. If it really won't work, try using. I'm not some strong man. It just won't open. Shuyi turned to look at me. I saw the cold smirk still lingering in her eyes. I shuddered. Was I a bit too aggressive? Shangju, Achin seems a bit scared of me. Achin. Come here. Shuyi thought to herself. I obediently walked to her side. I might have been too anxious today. I shouldn't have been so impulsive. But seeing you trapped, seeing you locked up, I really couldn't stay calm. I'm usually such a good boy. Is this really the powerful eldest daughter of the Gu family? I nodded, pretending to be confused. Shuyi is the best. I've always known that. The bodyguards. You look at me. I look at you. Where on earth does he see her as a good woman? Shuyi nodded happily. I grinned. I know Shuyi only wants what's best for me. The bodyguard looked at our dynamic with a weird expression. Sorry about that. Hey, which one of them is actually crazy? I looked down at my feet. I let out a whistle. De Huang trotted over from the living room, but wiggling. He circled around me. I smiled and patted his head. Then I pointed to my ankle. De Huang immediately opened his mouth and bit it open. Then he looked at the bag on the floor, confused. The dog is small, but he has big thoughts in his head. Why does this look so much like the chain they use on me? Is this human a pet of the house too? You're free now. I looked at Shuyi with a smug expression. Shuyi, beaming with joy, wrapped her arm around my waist. The bodyguard drove and thoughtfully lowered the partition. Shuyi sighed softly. Why go back to the Duan residence? Sitting beside her, my eyes darkened. There are still some things I haven't taken from the Duan family. Let me tell you, that butler at home was so cruel. He made me cook instant noodles for dinner, while he ate Australian lobster. Then he locked me up. I didn't want the Duan family to know that there was something between us. I thought it would only bring you trouble. I looked devastated. Every word sounded like I was only thinking of her. As long as it concerns you, there's no such thing as trouble. They illegally detained you in the first place. That is a crime. Shuyi said nonchalantly. I knew what she was thinking, quickly said, it's okay. With you protecting me, I don't care about them. Please don't do anything. It wouldn't be good for your reputation. I reached out and covered her small hand. Then we interlaced our fingers, and so we stayed together happily. Shuyi looked at our joined hands, her eyes curving into crescents. Achin is such a big liar. He wasn't scared at all before. He even pretended to be panicked just for me. He didn't even wipe the snack crumbs from the corner of his mouth. That little rascal just wanted me to feel sorry for him. But what can I do? I'm head over heels for him. Shuyi reached out sternly and wiped the crumbs from my mouth. My world used to be cold and lonely until I met Achin and there was light. I looked at her, slightly confused. Did I say something wrong just now? The car drove back to the Gu residence. I sat at the dining table. Just as I finished eating, I turned around and saw a woman in pajamas behind me. I swallowed hard. I'm just going to the restroom. Is Achin trying to run away? No. Good that you're not. I helped you so much today. You should thank me properly. The sky grew dark and heavy. There was no one around me anymore. Shuyi was very busy with work. After all, She had to run such a massive company alone, so she didn't sleep long, and went straight back to the office to handle business. I smugly opened the wardrobe, and found a set of black clothes. Then I quietly climbed out the window, avoiding the guards on patrol. Quietly made my way back to the Duan residence and tapped on the butler's bedroom window. The butler woke up instantly. He felt a chill run down his spine. I smiled and waved a greeting to him. Who is it? What do you want? I looked at him nonchalantly. I was just wondering how to make sure today's events don't leak out. The butler immediately understood what I meant. Young master, please rest assured. I will absolutely not say a word. I beg you. Please let me go. Watching the butler beg was almost comical. I burst out laughing. I narrowed my eyes, looking down at the butler on the bed. But Lily, you look truly pathetic right now. I couldn't help but remember my previous life, when I was hospitalized with cancer. During those days in the hospital, this butler used to bring me leftovers. He would even throw the leftovers away so I couldn't eat. The words he said back then were exactly the same. The butler trembled with fear. This has absolutely nothing to do with me. I was only following orders. Every debt has its debtor. I raised an eyebrow. But Lily, I believe that in this world. I looked at the terrified butler. I continued, but don't panic. How could a kind person like me possibly kill you? Don't you agree? I sighed and swiftly grabbed his wrist. The butler's whole body went numb. He was instantly paralyzed. His phone clattered to the floor. Butler Lee struggled desperately. Young master, please let me go. I'll tell you who ordered it. I wagged a finger. No. The mastermind. I'll investigate that myself to prevent you from causing trouble. My apologies. With a smile in my eyes, I patted his shoulder. Enjoy your stay in the hospital for a while. You can keep me company there. I climbed back out the window and left. I pondered where to go next. Maybe I'll stop by Shuyi's company. I don't think I've ever been there. From a dark alley nearby came the terrified voice of a man. What do you want from me? I stopped and turned back. The voice of a suspected kidnapper echoed. Someone's paying a fortune to deal with you brutally. Oh, a fortune? Huh? My eyes lit up as I walked into the alley. Although my physical condition is a bit lacking right now, but dealing with a few ordinary thugs is a piece of cake. The man in front of me, eyes lit up. Brother, help me. Someone's after me. Please call the police for me. The kidnappers turned back to warn me. Hey, kid, don't meddle in things that don't concern you, or you'll lose your life before you even know how. The man took the chance to secretly step back, looking like he wanted to make a run for it. I looked at the few burly men in front of me and tactfully stepped to the side. Don't worry, this young master has never liked meddling since childhood. I've just never seen this kind of thing before. Just wanted to have a look. The kidnapper snorted coldly. The hostage's expression turned sour. Why is there another one coming to join the chaos? Suddenly, the man's face looked familiar. So this is the face worth a fortune. The man spoke to stall for time. Let me die knowing the truth. Can you tell me who wants to harm me? I watched with great interest. There's no harm in telling you. You offended the eldest Miss Gu. This gossip actually involves my own people. I looked closely at the man. He looks average. Not as handsome as me. I was just enjoying the drama. But now I'm shocked. He doesn't look like any famous figure. Why would Shuyi have a conflict with someone like this? I felt a bit annoyed. Why are so many people throwing dirt on my Shuyi? Huh? When did I ever provoke Miss Gu? You'll have to ask yourself that. Everyone knows I'm someone close to Gu Nian. The kidnapper couldn't be bothered with his nonsense. He signaled his lackeys to take action, but I was faster than them. Pebble flew out. The man dropped to one knee instantly. The leader's face darkened as he turned to look at me. I leaned against the wall, tossing a stone in one hand. Seeing the kidnapper turn his head, I flicked my wrist. The stone hit him. His grip loosened. The object in his hand fell to the ground. The hostage bolted, but he was instantly surrounded by the others. Get him. I looked frail and weak at first, so they didn't take me seriously. They didn't expect me to actually play the hero. I nonchalantly watched the kidnappers approach me. The leader swung a punch at me. I pulled out my paralyzing spray and quickly subdued the thugs. Their legs gave out. They all collapsed to the ground. The kidnappers looked at their bodies in horror. Boss, my whole body is numb. I can't move. I sighed. I learned many skills during my quick-wear journeys. My self-defense skills are masterful, and I know a thing or two about pressure points. I checked the time. It's so late. Will I be disturbing my Shuyi? I decided to wrap this up quickly. The leader finally realized something was wrong. He looked at his fallen lackeys in despair. The hostage was overjoyed. Brother, I didn't know you had these skills. Why didn't you just act earlier? I was scared to death. Thanks for saving me. Brother, the man breathed a sigh of relief. Then he walked toward me, completely unguarded. Hello. My name is Wang Kaiga. I just stepped out of my father's company. When these guys grabbed me, Wang Kaiga gave a hard kick to a kidnapper on the ground. He suddenly noticed the guy's eyes were open. He jumped aside in fright and accidentally stepped on another guy's hand. The other guy's eyes nearly popped out from the pain. The man waved his hand. Sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Wait, why am I apologizing? I just watched him quietly. I picked up the baseball bat from the ground and gently tapped Wang Kaiga on the shoulder. Wang Kaiga felt pitiful, weak, and helpless. His savior had suddenly turned cold. Handsome, let's talk this through. Just let me go. Wang Kaiga's face crumpled like a steamed bun. That won't do. You are a high-value hostage. If you run away, wouldn't I be suffering a huge loss? Then, I leisurely took out my phone to call my bodyguards. After explaining the situation to the bodyguards who arrived quickly, I coolly left with my friend, Wang Kaiga. I used my phone to look up information on Wang Kaiga. Other than seeing he's the only son of the Wang group, I found nothing else. Why did these people kidnap Wang Kaiga and frame my Shuyi? The Wang family is mainly in the cosmetics industry, while Gu Shui focuses mainly on finance. The two groups have no cooperation or dealings. I shoved Wang Kaiga into a taxi and arrived at the Gu Group building. I made him sit on the steps nearby. He was covered in dust. Then we walked toward the building. A security guard immediately stepped forward to question us. Hello, unauthorized personnel, please leave. I need to take this man to see Gunyen, so could you please step aside? The guard looked at me as if I were an idiot. I simply said, it's fine. I'll just stand here. I won't be in anyone's way. I was about to call Gu Shui to have someone come down and get me. The guard reached out and pushed me, trying to drive me away. His eyes were filled with blatant contempt. I've seen plenty of people like you. Stop daydreaming. The CEO is so busy, how could she possibly have time to see you? I frowned and shifted slightly to the side. I had no intention of leaving. The guard's expression soured. Just then, a woman walked over. What's going on? Why are you messing around at the entrance? It's affecting the company's image. The guard quickly explained. This person insists on seeing the CEO, but he doesn't have an appointment. I was trying to kick him out, but he refuses to move. His tone was respectful. The woman looked me up and down. Young man, why use this kind of method to get attention? Too many people try to get close to her every day. This is indeed against the rules. Leave now. The woman rolled her eyes after speaking. I was completely annoyed. I snapped back without hesitation. Did you eat something rotten for dinner? Why do you stink so much? The woman let out a cold laugh. Someone, please escort these two out immediately. I raised my hand to stop the approaching guard. Are the executives of the Gu Group really this biased and unreasonable? I want to see Gu Shui. I'm not hitting on anyone. Someone paid a fortune to bribe Wang Kaiga, the sole heir of Wang Group, and they framed Gun Yen. Are you sure you want to kick me out and jeopardize Gun Yen's interests? The woman's expression shifted instantly. Clearly, she didn't expect me to mention Wang Kaiga. She looked me up and down. The Wang family is a powerhouse in the beauty industry. If they really get into a dispute with the Gu Group, the consequences would be catastrophic. She scanned me again. Then she looked at the lifeless Wang Kaiga sitting on the floor. Her tone wavered. What nonsense are you talking? How could Gun Yen possibly be involved in this case? Are you just making things up? Let Gun Yen come down and we'll see. I brushed the dust off my clothes. I just subdued the kidnappers. They admitted it themselves. Someone acted in the name of Miss Gu. If you kick me out now, and the kidnappers recant or the Wangs seek revenge, can you handle that responsibility? The surrounding employees stopped to watch. The woman was caught in a dilemma. Her face turned pale and then flushed. Right then, cold yet familiar voice echoed from the elevator lobby. What's all the noise about? I felt a wave of relief. I turned around. Gu Shui was walking toward me. She exuded an aura of cold detachment. When Executive Xing saw her, her arrogance vanished instantly. She quickly bowed. Miss Gu, this man forced his way into the company and slandered you, claiming you were involved in a case. I was just about to kick him out. Gu Shui's gaze fell upon me. Her cold eyes softened instantly. She stepped quickly to my side. She reached out and gently took my hand. Why are you here? Are you hurt? Everyone around was stunned. No one expected that the powerful Gu Shui of the business world would be so intimate with someone like me, a seemingly ordinary young man. Such intimacy. I squeezed her hand back. I leaned into her ear. I whispered, Shuyi, someone is framing you. I've brought the witness. I pointed to Wang Kaiga on the floor. A flash of coldness crossed Gu Shui's eyes. Then she looked at the executive, driving away my person without knowing the facts, and causing a scene in the lobby. Your behavior is a serious violation of company regulations and professional ethics. The company has decided to fire you. Please complete your resignation procedures. Executive Xing turned deathly pale. She begged for mercy repeatedly, but she was dragged out by security. Those who break the law will eventually be punished. This is the inevitable result of justice. Gu Shui signaled her assistant to take Wang Kaiga to the lounge. Then she dismissed the crowd of employees. Only the two of us remained in the lobby. She reached out to brush the dust off my shoulder. She asked softly what exactly happened. I never ordered anyone to target the Wang family. I leaned against the wall and told her everything that happened in the alley. The kidnappers were paid a huge sum to deal with Wang Kaiga ruthlessly. They said you ordered it because the Wangs do beauty, while you do finance. There's no connection between you. Clearly, Someone wants to drive a wedge between you and destroy your reputation at the same time. Destroy your reputation. Gu Shuyi thought for a moment. Then she blurted out, "It's Duan Mutian, just as I thought." My heart sank. The man who ruined my life in my previous existence. This scum wants to use the same old tricks, using underhanded methods to hurt us. I held Gu Shuyi's hand. My voice was firm. Duan Mutian's illegal actions will be fully prosecuted through legal channels. Gu Shuyi nodded gently. Her eyes were full of trust. "I trust you, Chen." Soon Wang Kaiga woke up, upon learning he had been framed, and that I was the one who saved him. He was overwhelmed with emotion. He was deeply grateful. He immediately contacted his parents to explain the truth. The Wang family immediately issued a statement, clarifying there was no dispute with the Gu group. It was a malicious plot by someone else. Meanwhile, the bodyguards followed the clues I provided, tracing the source, straight to the mastermind, Duan Mutian. Turned out Duan Mutian found out I was with Gu Shuyi. Fearing his crimes would be exposed, he wanted to use the Wangs to suppress the Gu group and seize the opportunity to swallow the Gu family. That's why he plotted this kidnapping, attempting to kill two birds with one stone. The bodyguards moved swiftly. They captured Duan Mutian at the Duan villa. At the same time, they uncovered all his evil deeds over the years. Butler Li, as an accomplice, was taken away too, with all the evidence being conclusive. Duan Mutian was charged with framing, kidnapping, illegal detention, and was sentenced to life in prison. Butler Li had mistreated the family for years, embezzled the Duan family's assets, and assisted Duan Mutian in his crimes. With all the charges combined, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. He could no longer bully people with power. As for the executive who harassed me at the Gu company, due to abuse of power and damaging the company's reputation, she was not only fired, but was also blacklisted in the industry. She will never be able to step foot in finance again, paying the price for her arrogance and greed. As for Tang Feiyu, who mocked Fu Yexing in the company, he used unfair means to steal resources and suppress colleagues. After being exposed by netizens, he was boycotted by the entire industry. He was forced to leave the entertainment circle completely, no longer able to stir up trouble. The artists who betrayed Fu Yexing were deceived by third-rate companies and ended up struggling at the bottom. But Fu Yexing always stayed true to himself. He treated me with sincerity, using the resources Gu Shuyi gave me, combined with the foresight of my rebirth. I landed several blockbuster series, from a nobody in the industry to a top-tier movie king. I never changed my manager. I led Fu Yexing on this comeback journey. He not only escaped the threat of being fired, but became the most sought-after gold medal manager in the industry. With a happy family and a thriving career, he lived a stable and happy life. To show their gratitude to me, the Wang family entered a strategic partnership with the Gu group. Both parties collaborated across industries, launching a brand new Beauty Plus finance model. Business flourished, becoming a legendary success story in the business world. Shuyi and I finally escaped the tragedy of my past life, welcoming a fulfilled life. The sunlight was perfect that day. I held Gu Shuyi's hand, standing on the top floor of the Gu group, overlooking the bustling streets of the city. I leaned against her shoulder. I whispered, "Shuyi, I was too foolish before. I let you suffer so much." Gu Shuyi turned around and gently embraced me, her eyes filled with tenderness. "We will never be apart again." I looked at her. "You protected me before. Now it's my turn to protect you. I am no longer someone who needs your shelter. I am a partner who can stand side by side with you. Together we'll take the Gu group to new heights, watching over each other, year after year. Forever inseparable." Gu Shuyi nodded with a smile, tears sliding down her cheeks, tears of pure happiness. I reached out to wipe them away, and leaned down to gently kiss her lips. Sunlight bathed us, warm and dazzling. I once weathered 1,000 storms in the worlds of transmigration. I thought rebirth was merely to make up for regrets, until I met Shuyi. Then I understood the true meaning of rebirth. It is to protect the one, to ensure kindness is rewarded, and evil is punished by the law. Now, villains like Duan Mutian and Butler Li are behind bars, while good people like Fu Yexing and the Wangs have bright futures. Shuyi and I love and cherish one another, finding success in both career and love. All the beauty in this world has arrived as promised. Duan Chen was reborn. I vow to never fail, neither my lover nor my true friends, punishing evil and promoting good, finally reaching a perfect end. For the rest of my life, I will be with Gu Shuyi, staying on the righteous path, with kindness in my heart, writing our happy life with love and warmth.